If you're looking to change up your builds from the regular boring meta perks such as this, then I'm going to show you my top 5 underrated perks that only 2% of survivors are currently using right now. This is going to be based off my opinion, my experiences, and you guys, the Dead by Daylight community. At number 5, we're going to start strong with Bite the Bullet. Now this perk is seriously overlooked, including myself, where I had to really experiment with this perk and really see that it has a lot of value. Now in this game we do heal other players quite often, I hope, and now you can heal other survivors without creating any noise whatsoever. That means 100% grunts of pain are suppressed and no healing sounds. And then on top of all of that, if you fail a skill check, it will not create a noise notification or any noise whatsoever to the killer. I think that this is one of the best, stealthiest utility perks that we have if you do enjoy playing a bit more of a supportive role. And it's almost like temporarily you get the OG Iron Will, which I think is really cool, because not only can you do this with other survivors, but you can also do this for yourself as well. If you bring self-care or if you use a med kit, then you are able to heal without creating any noise, which is a cool concept, because you can probably do some like jukes with that, where if you're being chased by the killer, you can kind of maybe heal around the corner and they won't know where you are because they can't hear you. I think this also works extremely well with killers that do rely on sound a little bit more, such as the Spirit, anyone that uses Strider. But overall, I think this is just a solid perk if you do like to play a stealthy, supportive role. And to end it off, if you would like to make the most out of Bite the Bullet, it can depend if you want to play a bit more of a selfish role or a supportive one. I would suggest resilience on both, and either self-care and desperate measures or empathy to help out your team. At number 4, we have Stakeout, and Stakeout over the years has always been a nice alternative for people and sort of overshadowed by a lot of other perks. And the reason why Stakeout just keeps sticking into my head is because of how useful it is in multiple different builds. This perk basically allows you to hit great skill checks instead of good skill checks, which basically means that you can get that extra 1% on the generator or an extra 3% when healing a survivor. Now you only get 4 tokens for this, so that's an extra 4% or an extra 12% in healing, which does actually impact the game slightly. To recharge these tokens, you do need to be in the killer's terror radius, so this does work extremely well with killers that have larger terror radiuses, such as tier 3 Myers, the Mastermind, but then it doesn't work so well with stealthy killers. So it is kind of like a hit and miss with this in that regard, but the actual utility of this perk is what I love about it. You can put this perk with basically any build that requires skill checks, so if you enjoy healing, then this perk will be helpful. If you like doing gens, that extra few percent does matter in my opinion, and I've noticed when I'm playing these games that the terror radius is typically around me most of the time, so I don't really have much of an issue with actually recharging these tokens. Now lastly, what I do love the idea of is Stakeout and Hyperfocus. If you are an absolute mad lad and uses Hyperfocus, this could make generator speed so much better. If you have 4 tokens and you bring Hyperfocus, you are guaranteed 4 tokens to hyperfocus, which means that you can do the gens even faster than before. And if you want to be an absolute manic mad lad, you can then use Deadline to increase the skill check chances. Now, I don't know how effective that perk build would work, but I think that just the idea of it is hilarious. If anyone uses that build, please let me know. I am very curious. But overall, this perk is a fantastic utility perk, a nice alternative. Not too crazy, not too powerful, but a nice alternative nonetheless. At number 3, we have Troubleshooter, and I've been screaming about this perk for a while now because I think this is a fantastic alternative for people who enjoy being chased by the killer. Now, the main perk usage for this is that it extends chases and reduces mind gaming from the killer. This means that if you are in a jungle gym and you pull down a pallet, you are able to see the killer for 6 seconds. And a lot of killers, especially in the higher ranks, don't tend to just break the pallet immediately. They do tend to try and mind game you so they can actually hit you down quicker than breaking the pallet so you can get away. So this might be more of a skill level, but I do believe that higher tier killers will more likely mind game you than just breaking the pallet. So this perk is subject to how good you are in the game, but I've seen a lot of value out of this perk. I've really enjoyed it with Alert, for example. So when they do break that pallet, you can see them for an extended period of time with Alert, and this just prevents just get mind gaming in general. They would have to spend a bit of time to try and pull off that tactic, and that's just a lot of wasted time, to be honest. For a perk build, I would suggest whatever you feel comfortable when being chased by the killer, but I would replace one of those perks with Troubleshooter. And if you do want to get more value out of this perk, I would definitely suggest Alert and even Any Means Necessary, so if they don't break that pallet, you can then pick it back up in the future. If you haven't checked out this perk, I would highly endorse you to try it. Maybe it's not really your thing, but it's a very, very nice change from the 4 regular meta perks. And number 2, we have Autodidact, and with Sloppy Butcher still being a very popular perk used by killers, it's still in the top 10, and it's still a problem for survivors out there, this perk will counteract that entirely. I believe this perk is seriously slept on. I am aware that there are other perks that are just better, like Will Make It, and I understand Will Make It is quite a popular perk, but the main difference is with Will Make It, you do have to brute force through Sloppy Butcher in comparison with Autodidact, where you can basically get one skill check and majority of the healing progression is done. Like, that's the major difference. In order to get these tokens, you do need to heal survivors, and so you will probably have to bring a perk like Empathy to kind of make the most out of this perk, and the first 2 skill checks will actually reduce the progression. So it will take a bit of time, but with just 1 heal, I was able to get 3 tokens, so it's not too difficult. Once you have all 5, you become an absolute machine. I was able to heal multiple survivors in 1 game, and that changed the game entirely because I kept them all healthy in such a quick time as well. I was able to heal someone in about 5 to 6 seconds with the killer using Dying Light as well. So this should definitely be looked into a little bit more, and with Deadline coming up, I'm very seriously considering this perk maybe increasing in popularity. Well, I hope anyway. At number 1, we have For the People. I think it's absolute criminal that this perk is not more popular than it is, and this perk allows you to heal survivors instantly. So as long as you're healthy and they are either injured or in the dying state, you are able to heal another survivor instantly, and in return you become injured and receive the broken status effect for 60 seconds. This is, I think, one of the best supportive perk roles that you can play in Dead by Daylight right now, and I say that in full confidence because this is game changing. If you are a solid, good survivor, and maybe you don't really trust your team to be as good as you can use this perk and support your team so much more, because you can do the chases better, you can survive better, but these other survivors can't. And so keeping them alive a lot better means that your whole team is more likely to win. It does require a certain play style, and it does require a certain build as well to make this work, but do not underestimate this. What I'm talking about is For the People, Buckle Up, and optionally Vigil. Buckle Up allows you to receive an endurance status effect when you heal someone from the dying state. So if you are a survivor who likes to chase around the killer when they're chasing a survivor, and you like a flashlight saver or someone in those roles, then you could bring For the People and Buckle Up, and as soon as the survivor gets downed, before the killer picks them up, and you're able to pop that For the People, and you both receive an endurance status effect. There is nothing the killer can do. If the killer does hit one of you, then you will survive because you'll receive a nice sprint burst and you'll be put into the mending phase, and that is going to change the game entirely. I thoroughly enjoyed using this perk build. I really did, because you do receive the broken status effect and you can't heal with that. You can use Vigil, it will reduce it by 30%, which means it will be 18 seconds less, and that really does make the broken status effect a lot better. Like, it's manageable with that. Now maybe I'm overhyping this perk a little bit too much, so if there are any killer mains that are watching this video, please let me know. I'm really curious to see what you think of For the People and Buckle Up, and maybe it's a good thing that this perk isn't like meta, because that would be kind of crazy. I do really enjoy this perk build and would highly encourage you guys to just try it out at least. And that's it. That's my top 5. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hopefully will see you in the next video.